God, can we never do that ever again? Start our Okeechobee Waterway adventure across the state of Florida. We've been on the West Coast for the last 2.5 months, and we are right outside of the Franklin Lock, which is the first lock on the west side as you're going east. The Okeechobee Waterway is 5 locks total. Going this direction, it's 3 up and 2 down. It's basically this side, the western side of the lake, is really short hops, so it's only like 3 or 4 feet per. Not that bad. The other side is one very small and then one quite large lock on the other side. So we're going pretty slow across, mostly because the weather across the lake isn't supposed to be great until Friday. We could really push it and try to cross on Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. We could do it. It would be a long day today and another long day tomorrow after a long day yesterday. So we've decided that we're going to wait for Friday's window and just take it a little bit slower, which means that we'll get to show you a little bit more of the stops along the way. Let's go do the lock. First one. Locks are essentially boat elevators that allow vessels to get from one place to another where there's a change in water height. At the Franklin Lock, the water on the east side of the lock is about 3 feet higher than the west side of the lock. For us to go up the 3 feet, the lock tender opens the eastern doors a crack to let the water start filling the chamber, and up we climb. Once the chamber is the same height as the river on the other side, the doors fully open and we are on our way. Not always perfect here on Ecola, and today was one of those days. We have a hard time sometimes talking about some of like the crappier parts of cruising because we don't want anyone to think that we're ungrateful for this like amazing life that we're living. But there are crappy days, and we want to make sure that we're kind of portraying the reality of this lifestyle. And there are days that are just plain old crap. And today was one of those days. We started the day at the Franklin Lock, went through with no issues whatsoever. Perfectly easy lock. We've learned from all of our locking mistakes in the past, or so we thought. We got up to La Belle, which is where we thought we were going to stay for the night, but the free docks that we were going to stay at were full. So we decided to...
Plus there was only like stern and docking.
There was no finger piers, which I guess we didn't realize, and for us that's complicated with the dog. Got to the Ortono Lock. Ended up in the lock chamber with 2 other much larger than us boats, like 2 trawlers. Mm-hmm. And we grabbed our lines the way we've been doing it, which is me grabbing one forward of the boat, and Andy grabbing one after the boat, so that they were kind of like this, kind of like you would at the dock, where you want to kind of have an angle. And we've been doing that because we kind of had learned that keeps us from moving forward and back.
So what they do is they just like crack it like 2 feet, and just like the water just comes like pouring in like a waterfall.
It's like essentially being at the bottom of a waterfall.
And it's just like swirling around and everything.
Yeah.
And this one was particularly violent.
It was. Watching our videos for a while now, you know that locking is not our favorite. And we really struggle a lot because we are a full keeled boat, which means that we're really, really susceptible to current. A lot more so than a boat that doesn't have a full keel. Grabbed the forward line, I turned to Andy and I said the forward line isn't going to reach the cleat, so I couldn't snub it off on the forward cleat. and he thought I couldn't get it through the chalk to the cleat. And he kept saying stupid things. He kept saying, can you go straight to the cleat, or can you put a single wrap around it? And I kept saying, no, I can't reach the cleat, period. And he wasn't listening, and I was getting frustrated, and I just wanted to grab the other line that was like basically directly in front of me instead of the one that was forward of the boat. I just turned to Annie and I said, I'll just cleat it when I can, because we were going to be going up 9 feet. So I figured by the time we got 2 or 3 feet up, I would be able to get it to the cleat. The lock opens, in comes pouring the water, and we're fine for about 15 seconds, 30 seconds from when the water starts to the current kind of starts to hit us, and then the boat starts to get away from me. And the problem is that when the boat starts to pull away, the bow starts to pull away because I can't control the bow. Andy gets all of this water pouring in between the boat and the wall down to the stern, and that he has way more of the keel to deal with than I do up front. So he's trying to hold it onto the wall, and then we both get it pulled away from the wall. I'm using every ounce of strength I have. Like, we'll play the time lapse, but you can see that I'm like literally like pushed, my feet are like against the tow rail. I'm like hauling on it, trying to get the bow back to the wall. And I had to sit down because I couldn't bend down because my back was wrenched. So I'm sitting on the deck and I'm trying to fend in front of me, but I've lost my leverage to keep the bow gets away again. It was a nightmare. And then at one point I almost fell into the lock, which is an absolute nightmare scenario. Like that's like very, very dangerous. Which had basically sent me into a panic attack in the middle of all of this. But I was like in full-blown lizard brain mode. Like once we stopped, my lizard brain was still there, and I went into full-blown like attack mode on Andy. And it wasn't Andy's fault, other than the couple of comments that he made before the beginning, which were probably a little out of line. It did not go smoothly, and if anyone knows what happens after a big old adrenaline dump like that, you are definitely more likely to be more cranky and tired and just generally assholes to each other. So we took a few minutes separate to try to cool off and not fight about it, which clearly we still can't do.
And then about an hour after that, our engine started blowing white smoke again. After spending lots and lots of money on it to replace manifolds and rebuild the injectors, and hours of work.
Yeah, and it had been running fine for 12 hours. Frustrated enough that today you really had a pretty big meltdown about it. So I think it probably was due to, like, I don't think you probably would have had the same reaction if we hadn't had the locking experience we had today. Maybe you would have, because I know you were frustrated, but...
Probably not.
After a solid night's sleep, we're feeling much better about getting going again today after yesterday's crap show. We are going to the famous Roland Martin Marina today, or infamous Roland Martin Marina today, where we're going to spend a couple days because we don't have a good weather window to go across, and there's a Walmart nearby. We're going to grab some provisions, maybe do a little laundry, and do some work for a couple days while we wait for a window to get across the lake. You don't want to mess with the Okeechobee because it's very shallow, so if winds are in like the 15 knot range or above, it can be really pretty miserable, and that's if gusts are in that range too. So we've decided that we're gonna wait for Friday probably to get across. Definitely feeling the result of our little lock incident yesterday. Took a few Advil, hoping that's gonna kick in by the time that the train bridge opens here so we can get underway. But before we get going, we're gonna do a quick 60-second marina review of here at River House Marina.
Ease of access at River House Marina gets a 5. No current, no depth issues, and the face docks are all great. Just keep in mind that the last lock in Moorhaven is a 430. Half the docks are brand new this year, and the other half are in great shape. With both cleats and pilings, you have options, and while they are a little high for us, for most it'll be the perfect fixed dock height. Docks get a 5. Location gets a 2. While the marina is convenient to the Okeechobee and had a nice adjacent park, there isn't much else going on in town. The bathrooms get a 3. They are private but dated and not the cleanest. Amenities at River House is a 2. There's a pool, but there's no laundry, ice, ship store, or lounge area.
I really want to see an alligator today. It was too cold when we came by the first time. So, everyone says all you see is alligators. I've seen one. And it was like a little one. Big gator.
Since we still hadn't seen an alligator, we decided to try them at Roland Martin's Tiki Bar instead.
Just like mango.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Right off the Okeechobee Waterway, Roland Martin is easy to get to and there's no tide or current as you approach. We will dock a star, bringing it to 4 because there is a potential for an extra lock if the lake is above 15.5 feet, and if you're further down the dock, you'll need to back in or out as much as 100 feet. The docks are a little tired and uneven, but stable. We give it a 3. Location also gets a 3. There's a ship store on site, a Walmart about 2 miles away, and an auto parts store in walking distance. The bathroom gets a 1. Honestly, as a female, I was uncomfortable with the bathrooms. They're locker room style, which lacks privacy, but my real issue is with the lack of locks on shower stalls or the entrance to the bathroom itself, which is connected to a laundromat and near a very busy bar. I would not have used them if Andy hadn't been waiting for me in the laundromat, and I'm not usually that nervous about things like that. The amenities get a 4. On-site laundry, ship store, bait, tiki bar, courtesy cart, and pool all make this a great stopover. The Wi-Fi is a little slow and gets easily blocked by bigger boats. We set off to cross the Okeechobee. It is 22 nautical miles across and pretty shallow, especially on the western side. We were forecasted for about 10 knots of wind for a smooth sail, but Mother Nature gave us 15 to 20. Just before the Port Mayaca lock, we went to drop the main, only to find that our main halyard pulley was jammed. This is a bit of an emergency as we couldn't enter the lock with the sail up under our own power or by tow. That meant that one of us would have to climb the mast to unclip the sail from the halyard in less than ideal conditions.
Oh, Jesus.
So as we're getting ready to go up the mast, which I've already did and fixed the mainsail, so we're good. We noticed the bilge pump was running.
A lot.
Every like 30 seconds, which is not normal because our bilge has been dry. I haven't taken that much water over the bow, so I come down, pop the engine cover, here dripping water.
Pouring water.
Pouring water. And I look, and it's shooting out of the side of the water pump. There's like a hole in the side of the water pump. The raw water pump we rebuilt a couple months ago. Shooting water out. And that hole is where a bolt's supposed to be to secure the cam inside the raw water pump. Cutback missing. And I'm a little worried if we start it, like let me see if I can get a bolt in there and thread it in. If it starts spinning the cam inside, it's gonna ruin that water pump, which is $500.
Right.
Andy did manage to cobble together a fix that would get us through the lock and to the marina for the night. But before we could get there, our engine had one more unpleasant surprise up its sleeve. Blue smoke.
It's been a day since our pretty
gnarly day.
Gnarly day? It was a rough day. We talked earlier in the video after the Ortono Lock about kind of it just not always being sunshine and rainbows, and it can be really especially tough when you have a couple of really crummy days basically in a row. I think we both needed a break before we kind of sat down and gave our thoughts on it, because emotions were running really high and there were some
There were some tears.
There were a lot of tears. Yeah. So we're here at Indiantown Marina. And we've been working on making some decisions about maybe what our next steps are. And I think we're definitely at wit's end with the engine problems that we've been having. So we have some big decisions to make on that front, which I guess we'll go into in our next video.
Next video. Yep.
So we hope that this gave you a little bit of a glimpse into the raw side of what this life can be sometimes. We're still so grateful for everything that we're getting to do, but there are days that are definitely tougher than others. So thanks for sticking around through this one. We'll see everyone next time, and we'll talk about what our plan moving forward is going to be.